Hi guys, Josh here, aka Beards and Books. Today I'm doing part 2 of my 400 subscribers Q&A. Hope you enjoy. So guys, before getting into the video, I need to say a massive thank you to Sarah over at A Mundane Life. She did my new intro. If you've seen it, which you will have because you know you're watching the video, it's amazing. Thank you very much, Sarah. Secondly, I want to do a bit of a channel update. So my channel has been growing absolutely brilliantly. At the time of me filming this on Thursday, it's just under 500 subscribers, which considering this is my 400 subscribers Q&A is just absolutely mind-boggling. Massive thank you to everyone who's helped me along the way, even just you watching the video, you right there with your tea. Thank you very much. So my channel is getting to be relatively well established now. I've really enjoyed making the content that I've been making, but I wanted to talk to you guys about what I want to do in the coming months and just kind of get your feels for it down in the comments essentially. So one of the things that I want to start doing more is actual book reviews. So I have kind of, I don't want to say followed the trend with Booktube, but I haven't seen as many book reviews out on Booktube at the moment, at least not single book reviews. It seems to be a lot more sort of in bulk around wrap-ups and stuff, and I'm guilty of this as well. I've done my sort of wrap-ups and my reviews in bulk, but I want to start doing them as more single reviews. But I wanted to ask you guys whether your feelings around reviews essentially, obviously I'll keep them spoiler free, but are you only really interested in newer books, or is it a case of any books that do you want to hear about any books that I think are relevant and books that you'll enjoy? I suppose is my question, because I kind of want to know how to gear this up and where to go with the video. So let me know down in the comments what you want to see more of in future videos. So on to the good stuff, you know, why you're here. As I mentioned, this is part 2 of my Q&A video. I will try and stop waving my crazy arms around. I don't know why I'm doing that. So without further ado, let's get into the questions. Question number 1, do you prefer reading with background noise or in silence? So this is a really easy one for me. Hands again. Silence, definitely. I'm quite easily distracted, which I know isn't great to say as a 26-year-old man, but it's true. So I can have, you know, a bit of background noise, but I can't have the TV on loud or anything like that. So where possible, silence. Let's pretend you have a family house in Westeros, so you have to make your own house. What would your family's motto be? Would you be in a hot or cold area? And what would your animal mascot be? Now, I had a good think about this one, and the problem I have is I basically want House Mormont, because I want a bear as my crest. I want it to be in the north, so in a cold area. So I'm just going to kind of take over House Mormont essentially. The motto is "Here we stand," which I think is a cool one. It's quite a small house in Game of Thrones, but you know, I'll build that right up, don't you worry. Question number 3, favourite thing to eat. And anyone that knows me, this will come as no surprise, I love pizza. I'm slightly obsessed with pizza. It's quite bad, really, because pizza's not good for you. At least not the pizzas I eat. If pizza was healthy, I'd have the best 6-pack you've ever seen. Pizza. Question number 4, do you believe in aliens? And that is a massive yes. So I've always been really intrigued by aliens, by space travel, space in general. I'm terrified of heights, and space is the ultimate height, so I'm not sure why I love it so much. But I've always believed in aliens. Not necessarily, you know, Independence Day coming over to take over the world kind of aliens, but I find it very hard to believe that the Earth is the only planet out of all of the millions of planets that are out there that can support life in some way. It may be bacteria, or it could be, you know, insects of some sort, but, you know, they would still technically be aliens. So I do 100% believe there is something out there. Whether it's something that I will find out for sure in my lifetime or not, I don't know, but I do believe in aliens. Next question, what's your dream job? And I'm going to give the stereotypical Booktube answer. I would love to get into publishing. I really wish that I hadn't gone through my reading slump in my teen and early 20s, because I did go to college, I did put a couple of years into the work that at the time I thought I wanted to do, and I quickly realised after that it wasn't for me. I would love to have been able to go back and study, you know, English or something that would have allowed me to get into publishing. I know it's never too late, but it is always easier when you are, you know, qualified in a certain way. Hopefully Booktube can kind of help me maybe get into something book related, but we will see. Question number 6, have you ever considered writing your own book? And again, that's a yes. So I'm a relatively creative man, I suppose. It's only been recent that I've started to think about writing my own book. Booktube was a challenge for me to get involved in and to see how I could make a channel grow with original styled content. And I think I would attempt to write a book in a similar way. I would do it as a challenge for myself, not necessarily aiming to get it published, but obviously if you could, that would be amazing. My brother is also very creative. One of my brothers, should I say, he's entering a lot of like script writing competitions and screenwriting play competitions to see if he can get into those sorts of avenues. So we've talked about maybe doing something together in the future. So yeah, at some point, definitely is something I'd like to try. Question number 7, what are some of your bookish pet peeves? I think I touched on this briefly in a tag video before. The biggest ones for me, without recapping the whole thing, would have to be insta-love and love triangles. Mainly in YA books. I enjoy YA books, but I don't enjoy them because I find that they tend to follow the same tropes over and over again. And a lot of that revolves around insta-love or love triangles, or the bad guy that you hate at the start being the love interest at the end. I'm not about that. I like a well-written and a well-fleshed-out story. I don't mind insta-love when it is written well. I don't even mind a love triangle when it's written well, but I think it's done so commonly at the moment, and I can't remember the last time I read a book where a love triangle or even a love story was done really well. That may just be the types of books that I read, but those would be my peeves. Next question, would you like to have children someday? And if yes, what is the first book you will read them when they're old enough to understand? So in terms of children, very much so. I'm someone that's always wanted kids. Me and my girlfriend at the moment are saving to buy a house. Very grown up, I know, and when that's done, who knows. It's definitely something that we know we want to do. We've been together since we were teenagers, so it's not like we're a new couple. And in terms of first book that I will read to them, I think they'll understand Game of Thrones when they're like, a week old. So I will pop. No, I'm joking. I'll read Harry Potter to them first. It would be an excuse for me to reread Harry Potter. I want my children, when I eventually have children, to be invested in books in the same way that I am. So I will read to them from a young age and hopefully they'll get into it. And yeah, as soon as they're old enough, they'll be reading Game of Thrones. Don't you know it? Question number 9, and another food-based one, which I like. If you had to give up carbs, including all types of potato or meat for the rest of your life, what would you choose? Now, I am a meat eater. I'm sorry to offend my, friendly vegans and vegetarians. I am a meat eater. But I'd have to give up meat. Now, main reason for that is pizza. If I give up meat, I can still eat pizza. It'll have to be a margarita. But then her eggs and stuff. Yeah, I'm going to give up meat. Question number 10. If you were a book cover, what would it look like? Now, this is a tough one because I'm quite a confident man, as I'm sure you can tell. I really didn't know what to pick. So I just went for the most intense one I could find, which is 1984 by George Orwell. It's got the star going. So that's my pick. Question number 11. What's the biggest hurdle you've had to overcome since starting your Booktube channel? A really great question, so thank you, Sarah, for that. This is one I'm thinking of doing a video at some point soon on my kind of Booktube journey so far, 500 subscribers later sort of thing. So I will go into this in more detail, but I think in terms of biggest hurdle, I think it's finding a way to get your voice heard. The main reason I tried to do original content and different videos to other booktubers of a similar size is for one reason only. If I do the same tags as everyone else, if I do the same videos as everyone else, the odds of my channel, which is relatively new and relatively small, being seen and being heard above hundreds, if not thousands of other booktubers is quite small. So I've tried to do different videos. So the biggest hurdle would be finding a way to get my content and my voice heard throughout Booktube, and even more so with people that aren't booktubers, people that are just book readers. Booktubers are very supportive. Everyone I've met on Booktube has been absolutely brilliant. You all know I've got so many favourites. People like Marina Ray have been just absolutely fantastic with my channel. And I think the most difficulty is being heard outside of other content creators. It takes a lot for people that aren't invested in you to become invested in you. So it's trying to do something different. Like I said, I will do a full video on this at some point relatively soon. So if you've got any other questions similar to this around Booktube content, sort of how my channel's grown, do let me know and I'll definitely include them. But I think just getting your voice heard as a new content creator is something we all struggle with. Next question, have you ever travelled outside your home country, which is the UK? If so, where? And if not, where would you like to go? So I have travelled a few times outside of the UK. I haven't for a few years. It's mainly It's something I did a lot in childhood. So I've been to Spain a few times, Greece a few times, Turkey a few times, those sorts of places. But I'm quite a homebody. I enjoy my home life. I love my family and I like being around my family. So I don't travel too much. But there are two places that I have to go in my lifetime. The first one being the States. So, you know, any of my American booktube friends want to hook a brother up, let me know. But I've always been fascinated with the States. As simple as it sounds, the food, the culture, it's very different to the UK, and it's something that I've always wanted to experience more. I used to ride motorbikes, so, you know, stuff like Route 66 would be a really interesting thing to do as well. I'm not sure where in America I'd like to go. In honesty, it's probably quite a few places. So America would be one, and secondly would be Japan. I became obsessed with Japan through the Persona game series, something I've talked about a few times on social media and on my channel. I'm obsessed with the Persona series, and it was my first real introduction into Japan. Obviously, it is set in a fictional part of Japan, but the culture, the way of life, the way people are treated, it's just, I find it really interesting. Again, it's very different to the UK. It's a culture that I'm really interested in. It's a place 100% I would love to go, and I do want to go at some point. And I just think it's really interesting. There's no real other way to word it. I just think Japan is just a really interesting place. Question number 13. How many languages do you speak, and are there languages you would like to learn? So I only speak one language. Boring, I know, but I only speak English. And I don't always do that well, so it's not a great start. But in terms of would I like to learn languages, yes, definitely. I think it's something, again, I like to challenge myself and I like to give myself challenges. So I think learning a language is something that at some point I want to try and do. I'm not 100% sure what that will be. I think I will probably pick one of the simpler languages, such as maybe French or Spanish, to be the first one that I choose. I'd love to do something along the Japanese, maybe even Mandarin style language. But I think that would be a bit difficult for a first language. And I'd also like to try and learn sign language at some point. It's just something I think that is really interesting, sign language. And obviously any of us could go deaf or have people in our family that go deaf. So I just think it would be a really interesting skill to have. Other than that, I would love to learn Dothraki, Simlish, and probably Klingon. I think those would all come in very handy. Question number 14, Marvel or DC? Now this is a tough one because it depends in what sense we're talking. So in terms of films, Marvel's killing it. DC is really struggling with the films. In terms of TV shows, I'm a big Arrow fan. So I'd probably have to say DC for TV shows. I haven't really watched any of the more recent Marvel shows, so that might change when I finally do. And in terms of characters as well, that would be pretty much a 50-50. There are a lot of Marvel characters I really like, but Batman would be my favourite all-time character. My favourite Marvel character would be Iron Man or the Winter Soldier, but Iron Man at most. I actually have Iron Man and the Hulk tattooed on my calves. I'll try and show you in a sec. But it's 50-50. If I'm going on characters, I'm going to have to go DC, mainly because of Batman. But if I'm going on films and on the universe, Marvel. As mentioned, this is my Hulk tattoo. And this is my Iron Man tattoo. Now that you've all seen my hairy calves, I apologise for that. The next question, Captain America or Iron Man? Again, easy. I'm not big on Captain America. I think he's boring, in all honesty. Iron Man is my favourite Marvel character. So when Civil War was on and I was watching Captain America and the Winter Soldier beat on Iron Man, I was not impressed. I wanted to jump up on that screen. I would have lost the fight, but I would have tried anyway. Iron Man all the way. Now, reason for that, my favourite superheroes are the superheroes that aren't super, if that makes sense. Batman would be my favourite for DC, Iron Man my favourite for Marvel, and the common theme for both of them is their superpower is just that they're rich and they're both smart. You know, they both have suits and gadgets, but I like superheroes that are vulnerable and that still fight. For people like Thor, even Captain America to an extent, it takes so much to beat them down. I don't think they're as vulnerable, and I don't think it takes as much heart and as much conviction to fight as it does for people like Iron Man and Batman. You know, you might all hate me for that, but it's my Q&A. So, and the final question for this Q&A, I'm at 22 minutes, so I'm going to have to try and edit that bad boy down. Do you prefer wrap-ups or TBRs? That would have to be wrap-ups for me. Main reason being I like to talk about books that I've read, when you're talking about books that you haven't read, all you can really do is read the description or the summary. There's not really a lot you can talk about other than maybe past experiences with the author and such. So wrap-ups, I think you have a lot more to talk about, and I think you feel the passion from the Booktuber more because they've either loved or hated or just, you know, meh, the book. So wrap-ups. So guys, that is all the questions done for this Q&A. I may do another Q&A when I get to 1,000 subscribers, if I get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you do have any questions, let me know and I'll try and keep tab of them. As I mentioned, I will do kind of a Booktube journey so far video. So again, that may be a good place for you to put in your questions. Massive thank you again. I can't thank you all enough for helping me and my channel grow. I'm really grateful that you enjoy watching my videos. As I mentioned, if you have any videos that you'd like to see more of, let me know down in the comments. I'm definitely taking suggestions at the minute. I want to try different videos. I'm going to try and do my first vlog in the next week. So Tome Infinity and Beyond Readathon starts tomorrow and I'm going to blog my week through it. I started this morning just kind of briefly talking about the books that I've chosen, the order I think I'm going to do them in again. So look out for that. And guys, just again, massive thank you. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. All the links to my social media are below and I will speak to you soon. Bye.